Leroy Jenkins.
Legendary.
I've got you in my sights.
Heroes never die.
Don't include any of that.
First blood.
Excelsior! No, we're gonna save that.
Yeah, sure. Yep, agreed. Yeah, whatever.
Hey guys, welcome to the Weekly Talkthrough. I am Katie, joined by Matt to go over some of the most important news in gaming and esports this week. Kicking things off actually is some sad news. You may have heard that Slingshot Esports had to close its doors. CEO Joe Ragazzo announced quite abruptly, actually, October 30th, that starting on the 31st, they would cease operations. They didn't have the monetary flow they needed. They didn't have the revenue, the income. And honestly, Matt, I see it as a tragic result of the state that journalism as a whole, and especially esports journalism, is going through, which is just, it's hard to monetize journalism in the 21st century, even though Slingshot was doing some great investigative work, and the Daily Walkthrough, we sourced them all the time.
All the time, yeah. Not so great of a Halloween surprise for the people within the industry. Slingshot Esports did great work, especially in the investigative journalism area. Like Katie said, we source them all the time. So it's really unfortunate to see it happen, and I think it speaks a lot to sort of the way news is monetized nowadays, as far as it's all about clicks, it's all about traffic. And
that's how you get things like clickbait, because when the ad revenue runs thin and people aren't willing to pay large CPMs, then what you have is stories that say, you won't believe what happened next.
Or you have really, really terrible memes that they have to post every hour, or they're not going to get their
Exactly. And what that ends up leading to is that you have a devaluation of things like investigative journalism, of long form. But good news, at least to Slingshot, is that they had a very fond farewell from a lot of the people who wrote for them. DK posted a good piece on it. Emily Rand tweeted out her thanks. You had Andrew Kim also tweeting out his praise, saying, quote, "I learned what work ethic really meant with Slingshot." So we wish them all the best, and we hope that we can still catch some of their investigative journalism elsewhere, but this is unfortunately something that's not going to go away in the journalism industry.
And Slingshot was a valued brand, and we're going to miss them. But moving on, we got big news coming out of BlizzCon on Friday. Blizzard hit the ground running, and boy, did they really nail it. Games across all the platforms. We're going to see WoW news. We're going to see Hearthstone news. We're going to see Overwatch news. We're going to see StarCraft news. It's all hitting it everywhere. So the first thing we got is WoW Classic servers, aka vanilla servers. They're coming back. Blizzard is working
after they shut down some of the vanilla servers that were hosted not by Blizzard.
Blizzard is working on developing, important word there, developing vanilla servers for WoW.
That already existed.
They are not expected to come anytime soon, but they are coming. Other big news, Hearthstone expansion, kobolds and catacombs, and a new mechanic introduced into the card game, the recruit mechanic, which is going to take a minion directly out of the deck and put it right into the field, almost a Barnes type effect, but with full stats of your minions. Moving on, a ton of news coming out of Overwatch.
So many things.
We have the Reinhardt short that was revealed at the introductory press conference called Honor and Glory. I may or may not have shed a tear. It was really good.
So basically, if you want to cry every time Overwatch comes out with a short.
It was really good. We also have a new map reveal, and it is Blizzard World. Blizzard essentially created a map that sponsors itself? ? It has themes from all the other games, so you'll see a Hearthstone area within the Overwatch map. You'll see a WoW area.
It is kind of like when women buy those Coach purses that just like say Coach all over them. Basically, that's what they've done with this map. But it's like nostalgia marketing.
And it is a hybrid map, so it's part assault, part payload. And we were told to expect to see that on PTR. I believe at the beginning of 2018, with the map expected early 2018 also. And then the last piece of Overwatch news would be the new hero that was announced, Moira, a support that looks like does a lot of AoE healing.
She
and
is
a lot of AoE
essentially everything that people on the forums and Reddit asked for. They wanted an evil healer. She works for Talon.
She works for Talon. Or she was involved in Blackwatch and is involved with Talon. So it's sort of double-edged sword. Yeah.
So literally everything that Reddit wanted. They wanted the healer, they wanted them to be evil, all this stuff we just said. Like, clearly if they want any more indication that Jeff Kaplan and co are listening,
right.
You got an entire character out of it.
And Jeff Kaplan had some spicy one-liners during the press conference. So do yourself a favor, go ahead and watch that back. It was not only a lot of news break, but a lot of entertainment as well. So then the last thing we have, and this could be a big deal for some people, maybe not so much for others. StarCraft 2, free to play, starting, I don't know when. They didn't actually announce when.
But it will be free to play at some point, which is exciting.
That could be today, it could be tomorrow, and it could be a couple weeks. They didn't put an official date on it during the press conference. I'd imagine somewhere there is press that has figured that out. So go Reddit detectives, go.
We'll get information soon enough. But last but not least, we're going to talk a little bit about how Nintendo has been slaying 2017. So we got some numbers out from Super Mario Odyssey, which of course was just released. And if you break it down, in its first 3 days out, it sold over 2 million copies, which is monstrous. On top of that, breaking that down, thanks to Engadget's Rachel England, that's 463 copies a minute and 8 per second. That's ridiculous. It's already outsold Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Which is insane because that game is incredible.
Right, and that game sold millions of units. On top of that, the Nintendo Switch is already on pace to outsell the Wii U total sales for 5 years in 1 year. So needless to say, Nintendo's just like throwing cash on the bed and jumping up and down.
And they've outdone themselves.
Oh, yeah.
The Switch was a huge risk that could have blown up in their face, and it could have blown up really bad. But they cashed in, they did it well, they executed well, and the Switch is a hell of a console with extremely quality games.
Well, and you can see because a lot of outside companies now that didn't previously look at Nintendo products are now looking to port their games over or make games specifically for the Switch. So needless to say, Nintendo is having a most excellent year. That's all we've got for you guys. Again, this is Katie and Matt giving you the weekly talk-through from the daily walkthrough. Stay tuned for next week's talk-through of the most important news in gaming and esports.
Hard cut.